Hello, welcome to The Inside. I am Babla Jonathan. In today's edition of the program, we're going to be examining or taking a look at some of the recent happenings in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon, the two English-speaking regions of the country hit by socio-political and security tensions for close to 5 years today. And we're going to be talking about the abduction of 6 civil servants, 6 divisional delegates in the Indian Division Southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. One of them is no more. The divisional delegate of the Ministry of Economy, Planning and Regional Development died in captivity. And we'll also be talking about the fight against cessationist activities in the two regions by the military. Several persons were killed on both sides, civilians, fighters, as well as security and defense forces during a recent major operation in the Bui Division, northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. We'll continue looking at the way out of the troubled waters. Stay with us and meet our guest in some few seconds. Our first guest for today, Dr. Success Kongu, is joining us from Abuja, Federal Republic of Nigeria. He is a theologian, political scientist, an entrepreneur, human rights activist, motivational speaker, philanthropist, peace broker, a private investigator, and former cessationist leader. Doctor, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Babla. It's my pleasure.
And joining us from Hamburg in Germany is Paddy Asanga, civil society activist, one of the participants at the major national dialogue. Thank you, Paddy Asanga, for your time.
Babila, thank you for having me, and I want to also thank you for the particular interest that you have, your television has towards our contribution towards bringing peace and serenity in our country, Cameroon. And I want to insist that we still hold on the footprints of the Cardinal, the late Christian Cardinal Tumi, who is expecting, and we are expecting a follow-up of the major national dialogue, so that we should sit and see what has been and what has not been done. And that is what we agreed upon. The Cardinal, those of us who were on his camp, and the government, and we hope that this time around they will have to respect their words, so that we can stop the bloodshed that is going on in our two regions. Thank you for having me.
Right, I begin with you, Paddy Asanga. 6 civil servants kidnapped by armed men in the Indian Division Southwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. 6 divisional delegates, and one of them, the delegate of the Ministry of Economy, Planning and Regional Development, is no more. He has died in captivity. What's your analysis of this other unfortunate happening within the context of the close to 5-year-long armed security and conflict in the northwest and southwest regions?
Babila, thank you very much for that brilliant question. And you see, things the change are coming home to roost. You remember when I came for the aborted Anglophone General Conference, and I told you that the Anglophone crisis has become a business. Can you remember that conversation? I had it on your platform on the day that I was leaving Cameroon. That was sometime in November 2017. And I told you this thing has become a business. 6 civil servants could not have been kidnapped without an insider. It doesn't work that way. Because these boys who call themselves Amber Boys, they also fear for their life. So the one who has been killed, they are trying to send a message, and one lady in that group also has been shot in the leg, and they are threatening that if they don't yield to their demands, if they don't give them the amount of money that is demanded, they are going to shoot her in the chest. I have those audios coming on my phone as we speak. It is a business. There are insiders, and there are people who want to use this current wave of crisis to achieve political gains. But the message coming from the other side of the secessionists and their leaders who are silent, it's a very, very bad message, because the question you want to ask is that if they kidnap people and saying that they are fighting for independence, kill them, shoot some in the legs, kidnap their own lawyer, shoot some in the legs, are they trying to tell the Cameroon government that, oh, you should have killed Tascan Wilfred, you should have killed Ayubu Kotabe, you should have killed Ayapol and all the other people who are in jail. This is a very strong way of looking at things, and I think it's a bad message that they are sending. And the silence of the so-called separatist leader to these atrocities is very, very revealing. You want to understand that in that, among those 6 people who were kidnapped, all of them are of the English-speaking expression. There is military man there, there is no francophone there. One thing is very clear today to us, for those of us who have been seeking for peace, that there is no capacity to fight the military, but taking civilians, and they said it on their platform, that if you touch the civilian cry is what is going to bring in the international community to give them independence. But I want to refer them to other parts of the world who are where people are clamoring for secession. Go to Corsica, go to California, go to Catalonia, and you would read, when you read that map, you understand that it is a lost venture, it is an illusion, and our people are paying the price for something that they never opted for. I'm listening to you, Babila.
Right. Dr. Como Success, you were at the origin of this crisis, and you were once a secessionist leader. What can you say about this kidnapping or this abduction aspect of the modus operandi of the armed men in the 2 English-speaking regions of the country? 6 civil servants abducted. This is quite serious.
Thank you very much, Babila. I want to appreciate God actually used to call me to order to come out of the amber madness. He is the one that did that job, and others came to harvest what he did. So I give much credit to him. On what is happening, this amber of a thing is a money-making business on both sides. The people, the Anglo-Zonians and the Yaoundé-Zonians are making huge money through this crisis, as well as the Amber-Zonians. And I strongly believe that there is the hand of Anglo-Zonians and Yaoundé-Zonians on this kidnap in Indian division. First of all, you should understand that these are government officials. No regional delegate is allowed to travel from one subdivision to another or from one division to another without a mission order from the SDO of that division. Now, if the SDO gives a mission order, it also means that the SDO has to provide security for these particular officials who are going on official mission. And if the SDO does not provide security, then there is a question about that. Now, how did the AMBA get to know that these 6 regional delegates are traveling from one point to the other? How did they know that? Somebody from inside told them. How did they also know that they were not going with security? Or did they go with security and they were kidnapped and the security were not kidnapped? There's so much question about this. I will continue to say that until Anglo-Zonians and Yaoundé-Zonians are identified and brought to book, Ambazonia will continue to carry out atrocity. Ambazonians are even more holier. They are even more gentle. They are easy to convince than Anglo-Zonians. They are easy to convince than Yaoundé-Zonians. Yaoundé-Zonians are behind the creation of Ambazonia. Anglo-Zonians are behind the creation of Ambazonia. And until Anglo-Zonians and Yaoundé-Zonians are identified and stopped, Ambazonia will continue. Now, for those who kidnap their own brothers, how could you carry gun and you say that you are protecting your own brothers of English expression, at the same time you are using the gun against them? I express my sincere condolence to the family of the one who was killed, but then we need to understand that this is the wrong path of what they call struggle. We did not bargain for this. How did we get here? We got here when people began to indulge into making money through the struggle, making money through the crisis. This has to end by all means.
All right, the senior divisional officer of the Indian division, Fuwan Lawrence, says that he didn't send anybody. He did not send anybody anywhere, and that all of that happened in his absence. He has been in Yaoundé for medical attention on the official permission, according to what he told me, and all of that happened in his absence. Now, who are you referring to as Anglo-Zonians and Yaoundé-Zonians? Who are these people? Can you be a little bit clear on that?
Yaoundé-Zonians and Anglo-Zonians. Anglo-Zonians are Anglophone elites, Anglophone politicians, Anglophone businessmen who are decision takers, policy makers in Yaoundé, who are Anglophones, who are benefiting from this crisis. Some of them come under the cover of mediators. Some of them come under the cover of peacemakers. Some of them even come to the television and give us the impression that they are working to make sure peace comes. I want to sound it loud and clear today that 99.999% of all those who are working, all those government officials, 99.999% of them who are pretending to be working for peace are actually not working for peace. They do not want this crisis to end. And they will never love if this crisis ends because they eat fat from it. Yaoundé-Zonians are the policy makers, the decision makers in Yaoundé who have the final say. They know what to do, but they do not want to do what they know what to do. They keep escalating the crisis through military option. They keep escalating the crisis through brutality so that they will continue to make money. We have said and we continue to say, you can never stop violence through violence. You can only stop violence through peaceful measures. You can't stop gun with gun. You can only stop gun with words. Sword cannot stop sword. Words only can stop sword. What did it take for Padi Asanga to convince me to stop the fight? He didn't use gun. He used what? Just a phone call, and that was all. Why are we wasting lives, wasting time, wasting resources, wasting our everything by using bullets, of which we know what to do, to talk to these boys to drop down their gun? Can I shock you, Babila? Let me shock you. Do you know that if Field Marshal of the BLM, if Ekeku today, if Commando of Batibo, if Arike of Boyo, if Nopiti of Ngokitunja, if all of these guys, General Efa, all of them, do you know that if all of them gathered today and decided they have dropped down their weapon, they are going to Yaoundé to surrender? Do you know, you'll be shocked to know that Yaoundé will delay to even receive them, or they might not even receive them. I am talking to you out of experience. We have hundreds, if not thousands, we have hundreds of fighters as we speak. You can throw the challenge to me. Provide me an aircraft, a means of transportation. I load that aircraft with fighters. We have, and Yaoundé is aware of it. We have hundreds of fighters who are ready to surrender, but Yaoundé is delaying just to transport these people to Yaoundé.
Hundreds of fighters hundreds of fighters who are ready to succeed. I'll come back to you, Doctor, in a short while. Padi Asanga, you succeeded to convince Dr. Success to abandon the fight, the war, and you've certainly convinced many other persons. What do you think is still keeping those who are carrying out the abductions and other atrocities in the two English-speaking regions, those who are still continuing the fight, what is keeping them in the bush?
Babila, I'll answer your question in twofold. And I want to disagree with Success on one thing. If somebody is fighting, he doesn't need a flight to leave from where he is to Cameroon. He knows where the SBU is, the chief is, the imams, the churches, and so on and so forth. So if people are fighting, they don't need a flight anywhere. It's just like you want to call somebody like Sakuda, he's a fighter. He should be paid, he needs a flight to leave from where he is in Maryland to go to Cameroon. It's just like you want to call Ebenezer Ayabato as fighter, but they're all scavengers. So anybody who is sitting somewhere and thinks that he has a flight to be paid for him to be flown to Cameroon is not a fighter, he's a political scavenger. They are merely using what you are saying to make money because they want to protect themselves. But no, the reason why it's very difficult to take people, to get these people who are still holding guns in the bushes is because they have realized that with the guns they can make money. And imagine one scenario is this, and I've sampled all of them. I will not lie to anybody here. All those names that people are calling in General Elfan, General this, they have numbers that are Ghanaian numbers, Nigerian numbers. I'm talking to them. Their life is better off when they are carrying those guns, and they think that to become businessmen by some chance if Cameroon separates, and if it doesn't separate, you might manage to escape. So it is a business that they are doing, and don't expect somebody who had been sentenced for 20 years in prison and he was break out of prison to deposit his guns. It will never happen. You only kill him to take the guns out of his hands. So there is that option. Those people who were convinced to go and see that they were fighting for something, they went there and discovered that that something became something else, and they have left. So those who are running and saying all those things, go and ask their profile. I've spoken to all of them. I don't want to vilify them right here because some of them are still victims of this scam that was cooked up in Nigeria by my friend Success Kongo, who I'm happy that he's here with me to testify, Ayub Tabe, and some others who have abandoned and decided to go silent. They are making money out of it. And imagine for one moment that if these boys who are being used as political guinea pigs come to their senses and abandon for some way and start asking for clemency, individual amnesty, these people will cease to be relevant because they keep calling them our boys, our fighters, our this. But the flip side of the coin is this. Bo Habet has a child of fighting age, like my own son. Ayangwe has a child of fighting age. Ayub Tabe, I believe he has a child of fighting age. Ebenezer, they have children who are all above 18, but they will not send any of their children go there. But you hear they will congratulate and intoxicate, push other people's children to smoke weed, and you see them smoking weed and talking in all sorts of derogatory language. They are going to fight. We are not fighting. The whole thing has become a business, and these young boys who have picked up, they are making good money out of it, and some of them are already building mansions in Nigeria. Take the example of Keku. You heard the fighters who ran and left to Nigeria, and they are no more fighting under him because of the collected huge sums of money gave him, and he only gave them 50,000. The records are out there, and
right. Patia Senga, is it just about the money part of the whole thing? Is it just about making money, or there is an ideology? There is something that they're fighting for, they're fighting to obtain, or the fight has completely shifted from the original objective of restoring the statehood of former Southern Cameroon.
Let me tell you something. The fight, the Anglophone struggle, it's a pretext. It's a pretext to achieve many things. Because if we Anglophones, we accept that we want fighting for something, that rallied all of us together as an Anglophone, get a credible and legitimate leadership as the Cardinal called for. But you want to know those persons who were against an intra-Anglophone dialogue, that a preparatory meeting, Anglophones would sit and look for ways forward, look for a solution that is feasible and that would appease everybody. They are the Ambazonians in the diaspora. They are people who are at the home front. They are people in the government. And they are those boys who are sitting in the bushes and making money, come out of the road and collecting monies from people. How does that give you independence? When you go and kidnap regional delegates and you say, no, Francophones must leave, but the people you go and kidnap are Anglophones, how do you expect to get? So the Anglophone crisis is a pretext. The Anglophone cause is genuine, and we will still continue, keep focusing on the price. That is the Anglophone question. Our marginalization, our living together in French Cameroon, restoring the institutions that we brought in Nigeria, the House of Chiefs, our own parliament, elected officials. We don't want all these appointed people who pay allegiance to Yaoundé. Go and look at the criticisms, the regional council and the regional decentralization, the decentralization that they have put in place. You would discover that everything is lacking, and we have said that the best model for our living together as Cameroonians is the Quebecan model. I'm listening to you, Babila.
All right, we'll come back to what you just mentioned earlier when we'll talk about the way out of this situation, and we'll continue talking about the way out until all of these atrocities come to an end. Dr. Success, as a political scientist, what do you read within the lines of this other happening, that is the abduction of 6 state officials? What do you read within the lines? What are the signals as far as the evolution of the crisis is concerned?
Just as Padi has said, that the Anglophone crisis is a pretext. This crisis is a pretext for some people who want to achieve certain aim, who want to achieve certain things, and they're hiding under the umbrella of Amazonia to carry out their own activity. The last time, the genuine fighters who were fighting for independence, they have all left. The ones who are left now, they are just thugs. They are thugs, and they are carrying out thuggery, and they are looking for money to survive. And why looking for money to survive? They have been contracted by some of their godfathers who are Anglo-Zonians and Yaoundé-Zonians, who use them to make money to escalate the crisis so that they can continue to make monies for themselves. So what I want to suggest and continue to suggest is that for this crisis to end, we must stop every military option. We must stop every military option and focus on diplomatic solution. Talking to ourselves, talking to one another will bring solution to this crisis. Anytime a Cameroonian is killed, whether an Amazonian or a republic, as they may want to call it, Cameroon is divided the more, and it escalates the crisis. We must accept to talk. We must accept to lay down our weapons. There are group of people, group of officials who continue to buy armored cars, who continue to fuel military options. This category of people are very dangerous in Cameroon. They are the ones behind all of these atrocities, because they know what to do, but they do not want to do it, because they know if they do it, the crisis will come to its end and they will no longer have food to eat or money to build the mansion they are building. These boys whom they are using to carry out, there is no way any AMBA can carry an action without an insider giving them information. Every Amazonian general is working with very high-profile government officials who give them information. Are they omniscience? They are not omniscient. That government, the military, they are coming. How do they know that military are coming for them to blast the military van? How do they know? Somebody gave them the information. So for us to be able to succeed in this, to bring back peace to Southwest and Northwest, we must be able to identify the collaborators who are the Yaoundé-Zonians and the Anglo-Zonians, who are the most dangerous people. If I were in position of power, I would have sacked a lot, if not all, of the government officials who have been part of this peace process, because they have failed. If you send someone
Dr.
to
Success,
go and
maybe Dr. Success, maybe you can help the head of state to identify those people who are around him and contributing to hinder the peaceful resolution of that conflict.
And that will not be done on the television. But if I must say something concerning that, I want to suggest to the head of state that every government official, including the 2 governors who have been part of this Anglophone crisis, who were there from the time this crisis started, who have been participating for this crisis to end up till today, that they have not succeeded to end the crisis, all of them should be sacked. I mean my word. They should be sacked and replaced. We need not another brand of people. They have failed in resolving this crisis. They have failed to manage the crisis. So we need another species of people. Probably they are taking advantage of the crisis to make money. That is why we need another group of persons. If possible, women, young women, who shall manage this crisis and lead us to the way of peace. All these other ones, I suggest they should be sacked out of office, including those who have been sent to go and talk to this or that. They have failed us.
Why the precision on women? Why the precision on young women?
Women, when women do things, they do it from their heart. Women are not political in nature. Women, they think about the family. Women, they have this human aspect of them. They don't like to see blood. Women cannot want to make monetary benefit at the expense of people's life. The men are very hardened. Men are very hardened. You can kill a human being in front of a man and he does not frown. It means nothing to him. But if you do that in front of a woman, no matter how wicked that woman is, the woman will feel so guilty. She will not even allow you kill a human being in her presence. So I prefer that women should lead the crusade. Women should lead the crusade towards the way of peace, because the men who have been crusading this peace have failed us. They have failed us. They are
right, Padia Sanga, you were reacting there about what Doctor was saying, women leading the peace crusade. Do you think that could be a possible way out?
My reaction is not actually about women. My reaction is not actually about women. I disagree with Success Kongo because he seems to be politically laïque, because he's talking about appointed official. It's just like putting new wine in an old glass, and that is changing musical chairs. The real solution, the solution to the Cameroon, the Anglophone crisis is constitutional, and they have instruments in the hands of those who are in the parliament who can make sure that we get back, we don't have these governors, because he's talking about governors, and one of the things is that we have SDOs, DOs who are elected, who are not elected, and Anglophones are not happy about that. We don't have our House of Chiefs. Our chiefs have been stripped of the powers that they used to have. We want to have some kind of a constitutional assembly, but we want the federal army to be in the hands of the federal state, and we have something like federal police and so on and so forth. Decentralization has failed. What we are seeing now is the consequence of the failure of decentralization. So that's why I was disagreeing with Success, because it's not about personalities, it's about a system. In a Jacobini system like the one you have, when you remove Paul and replace him with Maurice, he does the same thing. And that is what the French people want from us, and we are not going to follow that track. That's not even the path where we were talking when we sat together with the Cardinal, the College of Conveners, and some of the Ambazonians who are saying, have been speaking to us, because they have been criticizing us that, oh, we went for the national dialogue, and what is the result of the national dialogue? The national dialogue has its result, because I was able to tell Success Kongo and a few other people that please come, and nobody is going to do something to you, because the Cardinal is with us and he has given us the guarantee, and he has left an institution which is the College of Conveners of the Anglophone General Conference. If they killed the Cardinal, you will not kill that spirit that is left. You kill Padi Asanga, you kill Dr. Monzo, you kill the imams, you kill everybody. That spirit is still alive, and we are going to keep talking to the government, and we want a follow-up of the national dialogue to make an assessment and tell them that the Quebecan model that we propose to them remains the solution, and we should go back and touch the constitution of Cameroon to make sure that things are guaranteed, but not decree, because another decree can hide another decree. He can decree something today, and the next person comes and change and take away that decree. So please, that's my disagreement with Dr. Success. He could be a political scientist, but he's politically a bit naive, and I want him to go back and do some research and understand with me. He's not trying to play some hardball here.
Right, we're going to take a look at what the newspapers reported this week. Charles Ekome takes us to the newsstands, the press review.
The Guardian Post reports the abduction of 6 divisional delegates by armed men in Dian Division, southwest region of Cameroon. One of them died in captivity. And concerning the killing of other persons in Bafanji, and the Median reports that the army has denied responsibility. According to the Guardian Post, separatists have disowned a woman indicted in the US for trafficking arms to the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. She is among 3 persons facing charges of illegal smuggling of arms in the US. Meantime, the Horizon highlights United Nations call on Cameroon to hold dialogue with separatists. While this call is yet to be responded to, military crackdown on the separatists continue The determination of one of the executing officials of the special status, a public conciliator, says nobody will dictate on him, adding that he is totally independent. With regards to the security challenges and other problems in the country, the Guardian Post cast clouds over the 2021-2022 academic year. The Herald Tribune puts Cameroon between the devil and the deep blue sea over accepting a homosexual US ambassador. In what is today known as the COVID Gate, the Post reports the disappearance of 6 billion francs CFA between the Ministries of Finance and Higher Education. An authoritative voice of the authoritative newspaper The Voice, Theodore Nze, is arrested and subjected to agony for 180 minutes. Another edition of the Guardian Post and The Advocate project the recent deaths of 3 men of God: Christian Cardinal Tumi of the Roman Catholic Church, Right Reverend Nyasako Ninku, former moderator of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, and Prophet TB Joshua of the Synagogue Church of All Nations. The Horizon exclaims over 112 million francs CFA for 1,500 artists. Cameroon Sports Minister tells The Star that Cameroon is more than ready for the AFCON.
Thank you, Charles Ekome, for the press review. Another major military operation within the context of the fight against secessionist activities in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. Another major military operation in Bui leaves several persons dead, both in the camp of the non-state armed group fighters and the security and defense forces. Earlier, Dr. Success, you were talking about the military option, even though those who are close to the President of the Republic say his option, his policy option as far as solving the crisis is a dialogue, but there is a military component that has to be responded to, and this is what we are talking about, crackdown on the secessionist fighters. What do you think about this continuous crackdown, despite the calls coming from here and there for this problem or the military option, the military part of the struggle, to be abandoned?
Babila, the military option has failed. The military option will continue to fail, and the military option will never succeed, even in the next 1 million years to come. It takes dialogue, talk to solve a problem. Let's take an example from a home. Cameroon is a family. It's a big family. Let's take a practical example from a marriage. If you have a misunderstanding with your wife or with your children, or your children have misunderstanding among themselves, do you use knife, machete, guns to solve it, or you sit down and talk as a family? You know the answer. That is the same thing we should apply in Cameroon. We don't need guns. Guns don't solve problems. Men do. You can use bullets to kill a terrorist, but it takes education to kill terrorism. Bullets can put an end to the terrorist's life, but bullet can never stop terrorism. It takes education, which has to do with talking, communication. So we don't need military option. It's just a delay tactics by some people who do not want this crisis to end. Anybody who truly have Cameroon at heart will never ever suggest any form of military option as far as this crisis is concerned. As a matter of fact, if there was no brutality in the first place, there would have not been any killings by now. So we did not handle the crisis well at the initial beginning, and we continue to do the same mistake. I heard this from a wise man who said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expect a different result. That's the definition of insanity. What is wisdom? Wisdom is knowing what to do and doing what you know. We know what to do and we don't do what we know. We teach others what to do, but when it comes to doing it, we don't practice it. So we are educated fools. We are informed illiterates. We know what to do, we don't want to practice it. If we decide genuinely, not hypocritically, to sit and talk on the table with open heart, I can assure you this crisis will end within a short period of time.
But
Sir,
yes, Sanga.
there is a statement you can make, Babila.
Yes.
There's a statement I can make if you are in position of leader. There's a statement if you're in position of leadership. There's a statement you can make. Do you know that? Let me shock Cameroonians. Allow me to write a speech for the president. And if the president promised to read that speech, after reading that speech, if people don't drop down their guns, call me a bastard. Let me write a speech for the president to read. And if after reading that speech, if about 55 to 60% of boys don't drop down their weapons, naturally, call me a bastard.
What will be the content of such a speech? What will be the content of such a speech, Doctor? Reconciliation, apology, plea? What will be the content of such a speech?
Listen, it is not a weakness for a leader to apologize. It's a strength. Take note. It's not a weakness. It's a strength. John Maxwell says everything rises and falls on leadership. We saw Joe Biden the other day kneeling down before the son of George Floyd. Does that make Joe Biden a weak leader? No. Apology is a sign of strength. It's not a sign of weakness. Number two, reconciliation is a sign of maturity. Cameroon needs a national reconciliation conference. There is hatred among Cameroonians. So we need a kind of speech that will appeal to the conscience, that will prick the conscience of these boys. We don't need speech that will move them to more anger, sir. What do you think Paddy said? Do you think Paddy has witchcraft in his mouth? What do you think he said that made me to stop the fight?
All right, choice of what matter
a lot. Choice of what matter a lot. If we choose our word, do you know that no Ambazonian fighter can ever kill me, even if they see me? By the way, I meet them, I see them. They can never, because I choose my word towards them. I make them feel they are human beings despite their weaknesses. I make them feel their life is my priority. I want them to be alive. Why would they love me? And the worst terrorist on earth still has a little bit of conscience. The worst terrorist on earth still has a little bit of conscience. And if you can penetrate that aspect of his conscience, you win that person.
All right. Paddy Sanga.
Stop escalating
Paddy Sanga, about the continuous crackdown on secessionist fighters, Operation Clean Bui, and so on.
Let me put certain things correct here, because we keep trying to copy and paste. We talk about American Western democracy. We talk about democracy in England. We talk about democracy in Germany. We talk about democracy in France. We talk about the Jamaria. We talk about democracy in America. Those are political systems. And there is nothing subjective that is called democracy. Every country has the democracy that it merits, and we should be able to say that as it is. Now, talking about the crackdown and what my good friend Dr. Success Nkongo just said, that we need to apology. It takes two people to apologize and to reconcile.
Who are the two people?
I understand that atrocities were committed by the government and atrocities were committed by the Ambazonians. People like Success Nkongo, they have apologized to the Anglophone people for misleading them, for lying to them, and doing all sorts of things. But we see people who are still in jail, and they jubilate. They have not apologized for lying that Anglophone, that the United Nations was going to come and give them independence. They have not apologized for lying that they were going to be at Ambas Bay. They have not apologized for lying that if you keep your children at home, you are going to, UNESCO was going to declare a blank full year, and that was the path of independence. Have they apologized for cutting the heads of Florence Ayafo? They have not. So it takes two to play the game. And those people who are waiting for those apologies are people like myself, and I have accepted the apologies of people like Success Nkongo, Yannick Sikot, Nambere, and all those people who are in the DDR center. But if some people sit and claim that they are fighting for Anglophone, go behind and behead us, there are two options. there is the option of dialogue which we are seeking for, and anybody who stands on the way of dialogue will have to face the other options. That's how the world works, and that's why you have security agents. One thing somebody will tell me, you tell me that the elements of Cameroon military are sons and daughters of Cameroon. Yes, they are sons and daughters of Cameroon, and they took an oath to defend the national territory. They did not take an oath to wear Odeshi. If somebody tells you that wear Odeshi and then you are fighting for independence, no, that person has told you a lie. That person has merely told you that go and be killed, and will use your pictures to raise money, keep some for ourselves, and send you 5%. So there is, while we are seeking for a political solution, there's no army in the world that you will tell them that because you clap for you, we clap for you because you went in Manfred and killed some 6 military or 4 military official. Go and do that thing in America. Try it here in Germany. Try it in France. Try it in Nigeria. It's the same thing that's happening in Nigeria. So you cannot do such things and expect that people will just clap for you. Apologies are good, but they should be sincere and honest. And the first people who should be apologizing are those people who fabricated those lies I just enumerated to you. Are those people who were collecting money to enroll people in Nigeria, in Taraba State. The testimonies are there. Those in Yaoundé who said there was no Anglophone crisis. They should be apologizing to our people, and we would know where to go from there. But to come here and say that let the military go away and so on, no, I plead on the fact that the military should stay in the northwest and southwest region for the next 100 years and make sure that they maintain peace, because when the military leaves, it's going to be settling scores. In villages now, people are settling scores. They say their only sentence is 6 feet. What does that mean? You kidnap somebody without any judgment, you collect ransom from his family, and then you kill him. Are you telling us that they should do the same with any other person that is kidnapped? I don't think that my friend Success has a good heart, but he's dealing with people who are more robust, who are more hardened criminals and crooks than he can imagine. He's coming from a biblical perspective, and I don't think that we are in church here. Thank you, Babila, for listening to me. All
right, let's take some interviews now, and we'll be right back in some few minutes.
The life of each Cameroonian that is taken away is as important as the life of each Cameroonian who is alive. So each and everyone has the right to be safe. The detention conditions, they are really deplorable, because first of all, when you arrive at the prison, you see that there are warders standing there haunting people as if they were in the market, because they know that each client they have, they are going to have some money. They don't have food. They are being fed once a day, and the population, it is too saturated that the food that is being prepared cannot meet up with their demand.
The sentence that has been handed by the Court of First Instance of Banga against 3 accused persons who were standing trial before that court for contempt on the President of the Republic and for propagation of false information is really surprising, because 1 year imprisonment term, 500,000 francs as fine, and cost of like 31,000 francs. To me, it's surprising, because we don't feel that justice has been rendered, because we know that these are ordinary Cameroonians, suffering Cameroonians, who maybe do not express their grievances through the proper way, but we should not forget that their grudges were legitimate. In a country where we have the minimum income salary to be 32,000 francs, and when people are not free to express their anger, their frustration, and when you look at the sentence, 1 year imprisonment, to me, I think the judge did not even take into consideration the fact that they could benefit from mitigating circumstances. I think it would have been better for that judge to have rendered even a suspended sentence, so as to teach and educate these persons. Sending them to prison for 1 year imprisonment, to me, is not fair. It's not justice. Justice has not been done.
Everybody, if you want really to live together, to have a secure country, be aware that you can promote your life, your family, your country through your footprint. Let us be responsible online.
We are here to add our voice to that of the government to continue to sensitize the public on the fight against COVID-19. As you know, COVID-19 is still very much around, and we think that we as local authorities, we should take initiatives that will add to the government voice so that this pandemic should disappear in our community.
Why is that somebody like Timbile is falling down at this hour that we badly need him? Timbile was a man who has that charisma to pull a crowd. Timbile had a forgiving mind. It is actually a very great loss for the Indian people. It is actually a very great loss for the whole of the Southwest region. It is actually a great loss for the Batanga people.
Timbile was to us, the Bima people, like our father. Never we went in an occasion where we could meet him and he left us as orphans. He always thought that, my brothers of the Bima are around me and he could feed us the way we wanted him to feed us. We have lost a man that we don't know when we are going to replace him.
Timbile was also very popular in Indian division, not just because he was member of parliament for Indian one, but he offered a lot to our people, not neglecting any one of them.
Timbile was a very dynamic, a very open-handed man. Batanga people regret for losing him, but the will of God has accepted him to go.
Those were interviews of the week. Earlier, Padi Asanga and Dr. Success, you're talking about the decentralization process, which you said has failed. And I want us to listen to this outburst of anger, frustration, and disappointment over the manner or the way in which the decentralization code, the new decentralization code with the special status for the Northwest and Southwest regions is being implemented in those two regions. Listen to this councillor in the Northwest region.
Honorable Weyang Joseph, an honor from Gokutunja. If I tell you that I'm leaving this place satisfied, then there's something wrong. We have problems in the Northwest and Southwest region. And I want to believe that the head of state must have seen and he had a good intention of solving these problems. By creating this particular institution, completing the process of decentralization, by creating the regional assembly for the Northwest and Southwest station, under which there's a special status covering this. But my brother, what I saw here, there is no democracy. There's an assembly of dictatorship. The budget was not voted. The standing orders not adopted. The president is taking all the decisions. He clearly said it that there's nothing like a vote in this house. And people are angrily going back. That is not different from what might have caused this crisis that we are suffering today. History is repeating itself. As far as the budget is concerned, I cannot say anything. We have not been given the opportunity to even look at the budget. The law is clear that we have to save these documents 15 days ahead of time to study them. We came and saw the copies of the budget in the session. How do you expect me to think that the budget is good or bad? I moved a motion of which we were supposed to go in for a vote, and there was applause. All of you were there, you saw it. We expected the president to be gentle enough to allow us to go and study this budget. He never gave us the room. He imposed and threatened people. So all have suffered from this crisis. They have burned our houses. We thought this he was coming to fix this region. I don't know how he, the president as a person, operates. I don't know much about him, but I want to tell you that he is a dictator from what I saw in the assembly. There was no democracy. No. Even the standing orders we are expecting to come before the budgetary session, he again dictated, we voted, imposed the budget on us before the standing order, which he has not adopted. Where are we heading to?
What will you tell your people now you are going home?
I am very disappointed. The expectations were high. They call us honorable members of the Assembly of the Northwest region. We expect to have micro project money. We expect to have some allowances that will go back and take care of some small aspects in the quarter. What are we going to tell the people? We are disappointed.
You have voted the budget about
we have not voted a budget. Okay. Point of correction. Okay, the budget is imposed on us through threats. As I have said, we are not given the opportunity to study this budget. I'm not a robot.
So you don't know why?
I will go and take that and tell you the budget now and see who are taking what. We are told that they are buying 8 cars. We are told that, like you see some of the lines, management of the offices and the rest, somebody is having 78 millions. The budget was supposed to be drawn by the population, following section 386, section 4 and 5. But can you know they brought Yaoundé and they started and drew a budget and allocated 12 million for it? Is that correct?
Dr. Success, the question is put on your table. Is that correct?
I didn't get you.
The question the councillor asked at the end of that interview, he said, is that correct? You listened to him. Is that correct?
What the councillor was saying was perfect. He said the truth. And I just do not know why Yaoundé cannot listen and do the right thing. You see, all these things like bilingualism commission, we don't need it. Nobody requested for it. All the things they are instituting, nobody requested for it. Somebody cannot ask you for banana and you give the person potato. At least, if you want to do something to Southwest and Northwest, let the governors be elected. You will see how peace will return. Stop manipulating, playing over people's mind, creating opportunity for people to be embezzling monies right, left, and center. We don't need all those things. We don't need all those things. The population are crying for something else. You are doing your own thing. And even the special status you granted is still a problem. Here are the councillors who are agitating. They imagine what the common man in the street would do. Please, for Christ's sake, I repeat, if those who are around the president are fooling him, can the president allow at least 50 of his genuine patriots who are not government officials to meet him and include at least 5 ex-ambas inside to talk to him? Or let the president allow some of us to write a speech for him to read. It will appease the hearts of plenty of people.
Right. Patti Asanga, your reaction to what the councillor said?
The councillor, where does that councillor come from? That councillor is a CPDM councillor, and they are reaping what they sow. He has to toe the line with his people. He's merely shouting now because you could hear between the lines that we needed some small money to go and allowances to go and meet the people. He was just telling you how they operate. So what do you expect me to tell you? He has not gotten his share of what is coming from Yaoundé because they have appointed people who are above him and they thought that they were going to get some powers. But what we have been saying all this thing that people should be elected, governors should be elected, those in position of power should be elected. Why should we elect one person who is not able to, who is omnipresent, omniscient, and delegates power to people, but everybody, every single individual is corrupt, but he's the only sane person. We see what his children and wives are doing with monies from Cameroonians left and right and so on and so forth. So these are things that we should be talking about and stop talking Mr. Biya, the president of the republic. I have never voted for Mr. Biya, and Mr. Biya is the de facto president of Cameroon since 1992. That was the only time where Cameroonians decided to vote for something and we achieved something. But because we did not want to work on people's corpses like Ambazonians are doing today, we prefer life. So what is happening in Gorkitunja is the same thing that is happening in every other place in the Northwest, in the Southwest, in the regional council, in the divisional council, call it what you want to call it. But the truth is that We want to restore the institutions that we walked away with from Nigeria and joined our French Cameroon brothers because we are Cameroonian. Those institutions, they worked until 1972 and they decided to abolish under a fallacious claim that federalism was very, very heavy. But the truth is that the most prosperous countries in the world are federal countries. And the poorest country, underdeveloped countries, are countries who practice what Cameroon is practicing now, this Jacobinist Francophone system or French system, and there are 14 of them. Tell me, which of these 14 countries is more prosperous than a country that is run or that is runs through a political system, some kind of a political federation based on their cultures, norms, and tradition? You see the way the president of Ghana dresses. You see the way the president of Nigeria dresses, and so on. We are the only people, Francophones, Anglophones, who come and sit on television with coats and tie and want to speak grammar more than the Shakespeare. We want to talk French more than Montesquieu, and we think that that's the way we are going to have it. No, Babila, we have to go back to the drawing board, and what is happening in Ngokitunja and what that regional delegate is saying, it's nothing new. He's merely crying because he has not got his own share of the cake. That is exactly what it is. So it's nothing new about it. We have to move over and insist on what we want to get from this government, and we are going to get it, thanks to the foundation that the Christian Cardinal Tumi planted. I'm listening to you, sir.
Padia Sanga, I give you 30 seconds to tell those who are still carrying guns today, who were with Dr. Success. Tell them what you told Dr. Success.
To all of those, my young brothers and sisters, those of who are even of my age, they should understand that we are moving on the footsteps of Cardinal Tumi. And when Success came to Cameroon, he did not come on the thing of the government, but the government received him. His safety was guaranteed by Christian Cardinal Tumi, and that institution is still existing. If you think that you are a genuine fighter and it doesn't make sense, and you don't want to be a political guinea pig, our numbers, contact Babila Jonathan to get my number, contact Equinox Television, contact anybody, and you are going to represent yourself. You should be talking for yourself and not somebody sitting in the diaspora and telling you that if you don't go and kill this other person, I'll kill you. That is what is happening. They are fighting themselves. They are killing themselves. They are taking themselves to court. Don't die for me, for my children to come and be something, and then you are in the graves and I'll be coming pouring libation, that mataya. There is only mataya when you have lived that matayadom. Thank you, Babila, for giving me this opportunity.
Dr. Success, Kongo, you were with some people yesterday, and today they are referring to you as a black leg, so to speak, or as a betrayer, and some of them think that you were bought over by Yaoundé. I give you 30 seconds to talk to those people who were with you yesterday and those who joined the fight later. What will you tell them at this point in time?
My brothers and my sisters, you all know that I started with you people and I left. I left because I discovered that we took the wrong track. I left because I wanted to save my life and save your own life. And I'm asking you today to save your life and save the life of your children, save the life of your family members. I'm asking you today to drop down your gun and accept peace. Peace is better than war. I understand you've been pushed to the wall. I understand you have been frustrated. I understand things went bad, contrary to your expectation. But it is more honorable to be a peace advocate than to be a warlord. I am encouraging you. Take the step Nambere took. He has not died. Take the step Yannick Kawa took. They have not died. They have their freedom today. They can go to Cameroon. See, I was so much missing Muyondo Bobolo, and now I can eat it at will. I can go to Cameroon, come out of Cameroon anytime, any day. But I'm still speaking against any system that is oppressing our people. As you can see, here am I talking. So you must not carry gun. You can use other methods to correct the errors of the regime. You must not carry gun. I am here today. I'm a Cameroonian. I'm still correcting the errors of the regime. You can do that just as I'm doing it. And for those who are taking advantage of this to make money, warning to you, because one day you will regret all the decisions, the steps, the actions you've carried. I can move freely in Manu. I can move freely in Southwest at the end of this war. You know so well. But many of us may not be able to move freely. Stop committing more atrocities so that when this war will end, you're able to move freely and visit your neighbors, and nobody will be attacking you on the streets. Thank you very much.
Dr. Success Kongo, thank you for your time.
You're welcome, sir.
Padya Sanga, thank you for joining us today.
Babila, you're welcome, and congratulations, courage, stay strong, we are together. Bye-bye.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for staying with us. That's it for this edition of The Inside. Goodbye.